I'm Justin Fulton. I'm the chef owner of Margot here in Denver, Colorado. Margot started years and years ago in my brain. And when we moved here, I took a job that kind of ran its course really quickly for me. And I wasn't sure of the next step as far as working for someone else. It really became the moment for Margot to find its footing. And I think that, we approached it as this pop-up concept. It naturally just became a tasting menu. It's really important that we use ingredients that are currently growing. Here in Colorado, you have a limited window of that. Kind of pushes us to push our creativity through those seasons where nothing's actually coming out of the ground. Everything that we use, for the most part, is coming from someone that we know, someone that we have a direct relationship with, a purveyor, a monger, a farmer, a rancher that we've developed a trust for. Mark from Esoterra Culinary Garden, he is a driving force for, what fresh produce can be in our region here. And we've just formed this really, really great relationship with him over the years. Before Margot even started, I was working with him directly, and we build our menus around the availability that he has. Apos at Tom's Seafood in Lakewood, someone that we can look in the eyes, who's located here. I could buy it from someone that's going to ship it in FedEx or whatever, and then it gets here and it's not right, and there's no accountability. I can go to Apos's shop and receive the product that I'm looking for, and if it ever would be subpar, he's going to account for it right there. We've been featuring some really amazing Wagyu beef lately from the Wagyu Den, Troy. The Wagyu Den is just one of the most down-to-earth people I've met here in town, and he brings in Wagyu from Japan and Australia and domestically, and it's some of the highest quality, great price point meat that you can find. What we're trying to do is build these bold flavors and these exciting dishes that people will talk about for years around vegetables. And in the spring and in the summer, that's super easy. We could write the whole menu to be vegetarian, but we still need to have really beautiful seafood and really beautiful cuts of meat. So when designing our 10-course menu, there's a lot of different pieces that come into play. You need to feed the person the right amount of food, and that's so hard when you have an extended menu. You can either overfeed the person and the experience is not as perfect as it should be, because that feeling of I've eaten too much never is where you want to be when you're out to dinner. And you can also not feed them enough, and they leave and they need a slice of pizza. And we've all been there, and I've been there. I've eaten, many a tasting menu that had me walking down through the Bowery looking for a pizza truck. When we designed our menu at Margot, we kind of landed on it being a 10-course structure. And with all higher-end restaurant experiences and even lower-end restaurant experiences through the last 20 years, most of the time you start with a single bite. This is called an amuse-bouche. It's meant to kind of prepare your palate for the onslaught of flavors that are coming. And this is really old school. So we decided that we wanted to do 3 amuse-bouche and not call them amuse-bouche, but we call them snacks. So you have 3 really distinguished, really distinctive, different flavors that we start with. And we kind of like to make it across the board. So sometimes you'll have almost a 3-course meal just in those bites, where the 3rd bite might be cheesy or have a jam and kind of have a little bit of a sweeter note to it. It goes from that all the way to it being, something from the land, something from the sea, something from the earth. And I would say most of the time that's what you'll find through the snack column is, something of a seafood variety, something of a protein variety, and then highlighting any type of vegetable that we can source from our friends here locally, whether it be the first of the season's breakfast radishes or tempura shiso leaf that we garnish with a combination of different things through the seasons. What feels like the next progression for that is some type of seafood, whether it be raw, cured, or some type of meat preparation. A buri, for instance, like in the Japanese restaurants where they torch raw fish, something that is going to really highlight the quality of the seafood in the next course and also bring you into this natural progression that I feel is the way the menu should eat. Then we're moving into a vegetable before we enter sort of standard operating procedure courses. We have Parisian gnocchi that we've served the entire time we've been open. I think there have been 4 different Margots where we had a different type of pasta, a stuffed pasta, agnolotti. One time we had a tagliatelle, but yeah, it's generally the Parisian gnocchi, which oddly enough is everyone's favorite course every single week, weekend in, week out, which, as you can imagine, after we put all of this love and affection into these vegetables and these seafoods, everyone just wants to talk about the gnocchi. The Parisian gnocchi is so versatile because it can change with the seasons. We can feature 3 to 5 different vegetables from our friends in this one course in different techniques, different ways. Everyone has a bread and butter course. Everyone loves bread and butter. It's been the way that we've congregated as humans since the beginning of time, and it needed to be a little special. So we spent a lot of time developing the recipe for our bread, which we're really proud of. And to complement the bread, we have some type of seasonal butter. Currently, we are dusting the butter with last year's preserved ramps that we've turned into a powder. And the butter just really absorbs that ramp powder and takes on all of the flavor of spring, and we can serve that through winter, and that's very exciting. We have used very cool peppercorn from Nepal called Tamut peppercorn. It's a Szechuan variety that has this very bright, citrusy, kind of floral flavor. We found that's a really, really lovely butter, but it's always changing, just like the menu, so you never know what you're gonna get. And for our bread and butter course, we have a cool little twist that you're not going to find everywhere or anywhere that I've ever seen. And when I thought of it, I kind of thought I had reinvented the wheel, but it's cheeky and it's exciting. The next courses, which are generally going to be a hot vegetable course or another seafood course, really have had a lot of great feedback on wrapping a fish with some type of seasonal greens and poaching it like this, and then keeping the garnish very simple, allowing the fish to really, really shine and really highlight the quality of the fish that we're using. We always have a land protein on the menu, whether it be quail or dry-aged duck. We've been featuring some really amazing Wagyu beef, rack of lamb. We use venison rack. You know, this kind of creates this dramatic flair for that kind of land animal course as well. After protein, we go directly into cheese, and then we don't want to start dessert with all of that cheese in our mouth, so we have a palate cleansing dessert. It's typically a sorbet, hopefully not a boring sorbet. We try to keep it interesting. I think currently we're doing blueberry matcha. And then you have your, very traditional dessert with a Margot twist on it. So currently that is our Bananas Foster profiteroles, where we have a brown butter ice cream inside of classic profiteroles with a rum caramel and a bruleed banana on top. And that's been pretty fun. After you finish the meal, I think there's room for everyone to be a kid again and enjoy some candies. And for us, that is a sampling of 3 different varieties, whether it be raspberry, financier, fennel flavored meringue cookie. We've used a lot of pâte à fouilles, which are gummy bears. We like to feature chocolates from our friends at Temper Chocolate in the Denver Central Market. I am not a chocolate maker, and I could teach myself, but it's also nice to, show some love to other artisans in the area. And out of the entire menu, you'll have between, 10 and 15 different bites. This is the one thing that we don't make in-house, and I'm perfectly okay with that. It's been kind of a great success that we're really proud of what we're doing here 2.5 years later since we first launched.